Good evening, everyone. It's 6:30 right on the button. Try to schedule. My name is Hugh Ward, and I'm pleased to act as your moderator this evening. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all of those attending tonight. Welcome to the Lions Den. It's great to see a great crowd. Our meeting tonight is going to be live streamed, and that's why I'm wearing a tie. First, I want to say hi to Ken Deck. Ken started this, got us all involved, and then announced he was going on holiday. So Ken, I don't know where you are, but I hope you're having a great evening. I want to say a special thank you to all of the candidates. You are dedicating your time and effort to make Stirling-Rawdon a better place to live. Stirling-Rawdon is my hometown, and I've always been proud to say that for too many years. It's 6:30 now, and we'll go to 7:40, break for 20 minutes, and resume at 9. Right? And resume. Already it's happened. And go till 9. I've never been president of anything. I have never been presented with a gavel. So the only thing that I could find that might act as a gavel is now. So it works pretty good. You see, I'm kind of sitting behind the candidates. I can walk right over them. It'll be a gentle tap on the shoulder first, then I'll move up. It also allows me to watch anyone that's asking a question and make sure they're not a robot. You see that every year. Are you a robot? I got to make sure you're not a robot. And so this will make a tin sound effect. Here we go. Something else you hear at a lot of these events is people say, I had a good time, but I didn't hear anything. This Lions Club has spent a lot of money recently on what we think is one of the best hearing systems. And I want everybody to hear everything that's said tonight. If you can't hear or need something's going on, raise your hand. And if the two lions at the back are awake, they're going to come around and they're going to find out what is going and tell me I'm not talking right or saying the questions right. So let us know if you can't hear. There's discussions about the mics. The Lions didn't have a whole lot of mics, so we're short a few mics, so you have to pass those along as you're speaking. We're lucky tonight to have the best sound man in all of Stirling, Mr. Bill Polly, in charge. So if you're having trouble, put your arm up, Bill will look after it. Our meeting tonight is going to be live streamed. Thanks to Andrew McDonald for arranging that to happen. Thank you, Andrew. We will be receiving questions as well from the live stream, and they will be directed through Alana, who will correlate them and bring them up here to add to the questions that we've already got. If you are asking a question, it must be in the form of a question, not a comment. You have 1 minute to ask your question. I'm saying it's going to take longer than that. Well, if we let that get stretched out too much, we would not get very many questions in by 9 o'clock. So you'll have 1 minute to ask your question. I'm going to be firm on that. Jennifer Kerr is going to be our timekeeper. If we give somebody 2 minutes, at 1 minute and 45 seconds earlier, you hear a little dingle. And then at that 2 minute mark, it should be another dingle. But anyway, we'd appreciate it if you could stick to the time. If we get similar questions, we may correlate them together, so you may not hear the exact questions that you asked. The evening format will go something like this. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves and their platform and goals. We will then go to questions with each candidate having 2 minutes to reply to a question. All replies must be on the topic. If not, the gavel will go and I will repeat the question. A specific question about, say, Ward 2 candidates will have 2 minutes. Ward 1 candidates will have 1 minute. If that's a specific question about a specific ward. Similarly, Ward 1 candidate will have 2 minutes, and Ward 2 candidates will have 1 minute. That's it. The question is very specific to a specific ward. The nominations for mayor will have 2 minutes on every question. Some questions that are not ward specific will have, everyone will have 2 minutes. It's not necessary to use all of your allocated time, but you must stay on the topic. Short answers to the candidates will mean we can get more questions in. If at any time you want a question repeated, just indicate so. Have we any questions about the format from candidates? If so, you have 1 minute. No. Are there any questions? Yes.
What did you say the wards were having 1 minute or 2 minutes?
It'll depend on the question. If it's a specific question about the Stirling ward, the Stirling candidates will have 2 minutes. And the Rawdon candidate would have 1 minute.
Why do you only get 1 minute?
It depends on the specific of the question. I know you all vote on every question was asked, but it was seen with the ward system, it must be kind of set up so that those in Stirling have more expertise in Stirling, and those in the Rawdon ward have more expertise on the Rawdon road areas. Okay, I'm going to start by asking each of the candidates, and if it's okay with the candidates, I'm going to use your first name. I want you to call me by sir, but it's easier just to use your first name to make this as personal as we can. And these are in alphabetical order. And we'll start with the nominations for the office of councillors in Ward 1. Mr. David Black is not with us tonight. He's not able to be here. So we'll go to the next person, which is Dean Graff. 2 minutes, Dean, please.
Thank you. This is done. My name is Dean Graff. I'm running for council in Ward 1. The reason I'm running for council because I've lived here my whole life as a homeowner, as a parent in both the village and in the township. I have the experience in finance and community service to be an effective member of council. If elected, my goals will be to work hard to minimize tax increases, be fiscally responsible, and work hard to improve the levels of service within the whole municipality for all residents. Continue to work with neighboring municipalities for joint services, such as the joint fire services as well as building inspection. I will listen to all residents of the municipality to understand your concerns and your ideas. I will work hard to understand the needs of the whole municipality. I'm looking forward to making Stirling-Rawdon the benchmark all communities are measured against. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. DJ, please.
Is it green?
Just talk.
My name is Teresa Durenner, but everybody calls me TJ. I have lived in Rawdon Township for 25 years. I've been on the library board for 4 years. You know, we started at the beginning and we would be the new to town council. Change in common sense could be the best thing that ever happened to Stirling-Rawdon Township. I care deeply for Stirling-Rawdon Township and I want major change to happen. I want a more honest and open dialogue with taxpayers. I want a more transparent budget. I want a forensic audit done on the and explain to the public what was done with taxpayers' money.
Thank you, TJ. Jeremy?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Jeremy Solms, seeking to be reelected as your councillor for Ward Number 1. I've been representing the ratepayers of Ward 1 for several years now, and I've put a lot of pride, passion, and all my heart into this position to do my best, working hard, representing you, the ratepayers of this township, at all meetings here in the township and outside the township. I live downtown Springbrook, where I've lived all my life, and I work for Roxborough Bus Lines out of the Madoc office, which was formerly Foley Bus Lines, where I'm a school bus driver and a trainer. I enjoy watching hockey and NASCAR, sit on a few committees, For the Township Planning Advisory Board, Committee Adjustments, Chair of Transportation Committee, Environmental Committee, Finance and Personnel for protection to personal property, Parks and Rec, Building Inspection Service Board, Bylaw Enforcement Board, Eastern Ontario Trails Alliance. And I also volunteer for the Springbrook Minor Softball Association, Sterling Agricultural Society, and the OAS District 3 Board. I'm always available to listen to everyone, whether it's a complaint or a suggestion. I will listen and do what I can for you. An open mind can make a difference, and I think I've made a difference in the past, and looking forward to continue being a voice for the Ward 1 ratepayers into the future. Keeping this township an affordable place to live is very important. Promoting the township to help keep business here and attract new business is important for us to remember as well. We need to keep working with housing developers to keep our tax base increasing. And the issue in Ward 1 mostly is the roads. We need to get back on track with our asset management plan, which means council needs to lobby our upper governments for sustainability funding that will continue from year to year. Going into the future, council also, you can keep doing the gravel program that we have been doing. And if I'm given the privilege to once again serve, I will promise to faithfully serve every member of the council community honestly and high level integrity.
You pushed it a little bit there. Sorry. Kirsten, please.
Good evening. My name is Kirsten Stirling. Being born and raised until 14 years of age under the communist regime in Eastern Germany had a big impact on my life. After escaping the tyranny, I lived in different countries and experienced different cultures, which taught me to learn and adapt fast. Whether I lived in Switzerland, Western Germany, Denmark, or the USA. Since 2001, I call Canada my home. For several decades, I worked in human healthcare and the last 10 years in animal healthcare. As an entrepreneur, I created several successful businesses, and now I'm off to new horizons and hopefully can put my experiences to good work. After 40 years absence in politics, I was very active in German politics in my early 20s. My interest in the political realm was peaked again when our beloved Quarry was fenced in. I was taken aback by this decision as it removed the only place where people can swim and draw water for their farms and homes, all without public input. I connected with people at the Quarry for the swim protest and investigated the issue. The same applies to the electronic voting bylaw, which was implemented by the current council. With the electronic voting system, an entire community is shunned from voting, our Amish community. I already found 4 people on the voters list who are not eligible to vote because they do not live in Ward 1 or even in this area or are deceased. I had involved myself in council meetings and observed some actions which I found troubling. I stand up for all residents and taxpayers for the reopening of the Quarry, demand accountability and transparency. I will not listen just to you, but actually hear you. I support our farmers, try to make the budget more transparent and save your tax dollars, work on bringing back the fun events to Stirling. We need to make council meetings more accessible to the public and install a respectful, honest, transparent, and productive environment where all questions and concerns are welcome.
Thank you, Kirsten. Right on time. Let's go to the candidates for the office of mayor now. And Bill, we'll lead off with you.
My name is Vasilio Sikioris, but you can call me Bill. I have lived in Springbrook now for 11 years. And since March of 2019, I have attended or watched pretty well all the meetings, council meetings, and planning committee meetings. And I volunteer as a Meals on Wheels driver, and I deliver the Springbrook route every Tuesday and Thursday, and I have done that for 3.5 years. I have attended, I'm going to go through my platform actually right now. If elected, I want to prioritize road repair and maintenance bring better transparency to our township and set up policies and procedures that would ensure that information regarding incoming and outgoing finances, tracking of work being performed, as well as other areas to ensure accountability, improving our environmental policies and procedures to help ensure a clean, green, and healthy future. I want to hear from citizens as to what their ideas are as to what we need to do. I will ensure that all complaints are dealt with in a timely manner and that everyone is treated with the respect and dignity they deserve. I look forward to working for the betterment of the community. And the main reason I'm running is because I have heard over and over again the last 3.5 years about a change being needed. So that's the main reason I have decided to run, is to satisfy all those people that are looking for a change. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. Right on the top. We'll now go to the next candidate, Bob, please.
You're speaking to about,
Just need to speak.
you speak, it's gonna work.
Okay. Good evening. I would like to thank Stirling-Rawdon Club and their volunteers for hosting this event tonight.
Speak up, please.
My name is Bob Mullen. I am currently mayor of Stirling-Rawdon. I am asking for your support to continue in this role for the next 4 years. In my 12 years of council, I have had the pleasure of seeing unprecedented growth within the municipality. We have seen a significant number of new homes built, both rural and urban. We have welcomed many newcomers to our community. We have also made some major improvements to our aging infrastructure. A relined water tower, a new well, a refurbished and upgraded main wastewater pumping station, and the current very ambitious road and infrastructure project in the downtown core. This term has also seen a successful petition to the province for additional long-term care beds. A new Stirling Manor is now a viable option, and we are hoping to see progress on this shortly. We were also awarded the new Hastings County Ambulance EOC Center. This will create additional employment and cut the response times for ambulances significantly. I feel my experience on council and in the business community would be very beneficial for Stirling. I have put some cards on the side to explain my platform. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. We'll now go to the nominations for the office of Councilor in Ward 2, starting with John.
Thank you. Just speak, they say. Hello, I'm John Rock, and I want to thank Bob, thank you, the Lions Club, for bringing this event on, and also thank you people showing up. It's a good chance for you to hear the candidates. I had attended council for 4 years, three years prior to deciding to run last term, and I was learned a great deal in 4 years. When you sit and watch from the sidelines, you have no idea what goes on behind not closed doors. Actually, doors are very open. There's discussions that take place within council, within staff. The council's job is to listen to the constituents and then make the best decision for all people in Stirling-Rawdon. Having a councilor is being part of a team. That includes the staff, the mayor, and the other councilors. You're not an individual. An individual councilor can do very, very little. You're one vote among 5. So it's something that you have to learn to work with people and respect their opinions and rely heavily on your staff. I am not an expert on growth, and I'm not an expert on water towers or things like that, but you listen to staff, you take the input, and you make the best decision you possibly can based on the information you receive from those people who are experts, staff that we employ. Over the past 4 years, I have chaired the environmental committee, which takes care of people in Ward 2, your water, your sewer, and your garbage. I also chaired the arena board, and I chaired that during the very difficult COVID times. There was some interesting discussions. I'll hurry up now. I've been instrumental instrumental in the revitalization of the Business Association, the BIA. I sat on the Sterling Festival Theater, and I'm currently the chair of that. I've worked a great deal the last 4 years. And as a counselor, I will hope that I will continue to do that for your support and for your well-being. Thank you.
Thank you, John. We'll now ask Caroline, please.
I've got to stand because I'm shorter than all these guys. Thank you all for taking the time to be here tonight. Thank you if you're watching at home. It's great to see so many familiar faces here. And if I'm familiar to you, it might be because you know me from the Stirling Festival Theater, which is the reason I moved here in 1997 from Toronto, which I ran for 13 years. It was the most fun I've ever had. We did over $600,000 of renovations to the building itself, and over the 13 years we were there, we won 3 Lieutenant Governor's Award, 3 awards for the Business Achievement Awards, and I was personally honored with honorary arts degree from Loyalist College. It was a really exciting time. Or you might know me from Sterling Pickleball, which is the best sport in the world, and if you haven't tried it, please do. I used to have to drive to Belleville to play, and then I got together with the arena manager, Richard Dean, and our friends at the Lions Club here, and we got pickleball going. It hasn't stopped. We're still playing 2 nights a week over at the Sterling School, because it's not enough just to live in Sterling, but you have to have fun, which is also the reason I'm a member of the Sterling Horticultural Association, and I led a team that overhauled the cenotaph this year, working with the BIA, with the Legion, and with the Rotary Park, Covered Bridge with the Rotary Club as well. And we get things done. I'm a person with a tremendous amount of energy, and like John just said, I love working with other people to get things done. I also may not know a heck of a lot about sewage, but I'm learning. I've been studying about sewage lagoons. It's a fascinating topic, especially if you have insomnia. So I vow to you, if you elect me to be a member of council, I will continue to do the work that I've been doing for the last 26 years. I also married a stately, which means I'm probably related to about half of you. This is my home. I want to stay here. I want to do the best I can to make it the greatest place to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. Don, please.
Good evening. My name's Don Stewart. For those that do know me as Stewie. I've been a long-time resident of Stirling-Rawdon. I've born and raised here. I got my schooling here. I ran a successful electrical business for 37 years. I have been a member of the Planning Advisory Committee for 12 years, so I've seen the increase in residential development in the village. I think that's necessary because of our industrial and commercial tax base. We definitely need the residential tax base. If I'm elected, I would definitely work with the council on hand at the time to make sure that this continues, so we can continue with the sewer and water upgrades, which in turn means we have new roads in town. I believe with the increased population, with the residential development, means a better enticement for retail services to come into town, which we do need for our commercial tax base. So there's many things that, as a council member, I would love to work with our staff to improve the looks of our streets, mainly sidewalks and curbs, or seems to be a lot of weed growth. I think we need to pay attention to storm drains in regards to the weather conditions we're having today, so we don't end up with unexpected floods. There's many things we can do with the council to increase the beauty of our town. And I think in doing so, things will move ahead, we'll move as a community, not as a municipality. Community spirit is great when everybody works together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Don. I'm going to get the questions now. In the meantime, the live bill, grab a question on the audience so we can get started. across the hall from you, chair from you there, somebody got a question?
I'd like to thank you, all the candidates, for running to represent Stirling-Rawdon, and to especially to the citizens that have been serving as representatives for Stirling-Rawdon for so long. Two things: municipal governments make decisions that directly affect our health and well-being, as well as the health of our family and community, by developing healthy public policies and delivering local programs and services. Anyone that thinks that someone in this particular level of government is a career politician is very misguided and may not understand the work, time, and commitment someone in these positions needs to put into the job. Career politicians would also imply that there is financial remuneration equal to the hours put in, but I would be surprised if any of them make more than pennies an hour for the work they do on our behalf. So thank you very much again. I'm addressing my question to Bill and Kristen because I'm from Ward 1. I'm not familiar with you as I am with the other candidates, so I've been reviewing your handouts and internet information. I would expect that anyone seeking a position on council to have a background, whether it be educational and/or local experience, within our municipal level of government. This background would show respect for the position you are seeking and enable new council to be up and running much quicker than having someone elected that has not invested time into the community prior to seeking election. So my question is, would you please each outline your Stirling-Rawdon municipal level of government experience, for instance, working in boards and committees, that you are presently involved in or have been involved in?
Okay, I'll start with Bill. 2 minutes, please.
I don't have experience, but I have attended, like I said before, most of the meetings, or I've watched the meetings. I go through the agendas before every meeting to see if there's any questions I would have at the end of the meeting. And look, we all have to start. When we go to our first job, we don't have experience. When you change courses, you don't have experience. By being there, all these meetings, I have seen some good, I've seen some bad, I've seen some really things that went on. So I'm not about to perform the same way as this council did. I've got a lot to learn, I realize that, but at least I'm willing to take on the job. And so yeah, I'm, like I say, I'm willing to learn. I'm running for the people that are looking for a change. And that's all I can bring to the table. If it's not enough, I'm sorry.
It's a bit confusing for the candidates with telephones going off that sound like bells. If you've got a phone, maybe you can pause it while we're having our meeting. Kristen, please.
My experience is more in healthcare and animal care, and I moved to Canada in 2001. And of course, I went through the application to become an immigrant, and then I got my citizenship. So that put me totally out of the loop of politics, but I always followed it. And because we moved a lot because of my husband's job, I could never really set a route anywhere. But now we're here since 2001. First we moved to Tweed. I got involved in the council meetings over there. And in 2015 we moved to Stirling. And when Quarry was closed, I really opened my eyes and I attended the protests. I connected with people there. I investigated what the Quarry was about. And I started attending council meetings and learning and listening. And I experienced, as Bill said, not good things at council meetings. They were very sometimes rude to the audience. People walked out because of the tone, and I would like to change that. I would like to listen to all the people, all their questions and concerns, and not just have an agenda put up on Friday before the Monday's council meeting, so nobody can really study the points. And my political experience is back in Germany when I was running for parties. But I would like to make a change here in Stirling. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. This next question will be 1 minute for every candidate. I have noticed on Facebook today several comments about speeding, failure to stop, failing to yield on Stirling streets. Is there anything that this council or future councils under contract with the OPP can do to help citizens with this problem? Thank you for your help. And I'll start with TJ.
I had an experience like this already with a lady that was telling me that the car was speeding down the road and there was lots of kids on the road. And I said, you can take down their license number, you can phone the police, but I personally do not know how much time they have over here. I think that we should have more presence here in Stirling-Rawdon Township. I hardly ever see them. So, I think that's something we could address and see how much time we do have over here.
Thank you. Jeremy?
As far as the speeding, I think that what we need to do is the township would send a request into the police and file a complaint with the OPP as we have in some circumstances, but it's very important that the residents either email or phone a complaint every time into the OPP as well. Because the more that's in there, the more they'll take charge to come over here and look after us.
Thank you, Jeremy. Kirsten?
Unfortunately, the Stirling police force was dismantled, and we see now the result of that. I have to agree with TJ, taking picture of the speeding cars, especially the license plate, report it to police. I would also try to work with the police in Mayo that they send out regular routine controls here. And I also find we should have our own police force, especially since all these break-ins and thefts in the last months that was never seen before. And I have rarely seen an OPP car here, not even for speeding, nothing. So we need to work with the police.
Thank you, Kristen. Dean?
Well, I think there's speeding that goes on in almost all municipalities in Ontario. It's just not a problem here. I think some of the preventive measures that we do with some of the flashing signs, slow down, that type of thing is gonna help a little bit. But I think they do need to call in more to the OPP detachments to make more complaints regarding the speed. Bringing back a police force to Sterling, I think, would be just astronomical cost to the ratepayers. I think it's the best way we've gone so far. I think it'll work. It just still needs a little bit more. Thanks.
Stirling-Rawdon, as our neighboring municipalities, use the OPP for our enforcement. That way we're able to control our costs. If you see a problem, whether it be break-ins or whether it be speeding, the best thing to do is contact the police directly, notify members of council, or notify the office as well. But if you want a quick response, notify the OPP. The response has been excellent. We've had a couple of problems at the store, and they've been here within 5 minutes. It was no different to their own police. In fact, we're getting the same individual 9 times out of 10.
Thank you, Bob. Bill?
All these issues that we're having in town, whether it's speeding, thefts going on, we've had to start a community watch program here because of all the thefts. All of this is a byproduct of not having a police presence. And nobody in this group knows exactly how much time the police, OPP from Maydown come into our town. So this is what the issue is, because of lack of police presence. And this is what we're faced with, is all these problems. And the only way it's going to get corrected is if we have an increase in police presence. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Caroline?
In speaking with a lot of the residents of the village of Stirling, there was also a concern not just about speeding on the roads, but also speeding on the trail and people doing foolish things on the trail. I don't think any of us want to live in a police state where we have cops on every corner, and I don't think that's possible financially. So knowing that as human beings, there are always going to be people who just don't want to play by the same rules as the rest of us, I also agree, citizens get involved, take a picture, write down the license number, form us. We used to have neighborhood watches that would watch for things like that. As citizens, we can get involved, we can get active, we can call in as soon as we see something happen, and hopefully, if these guys want to break the law, they'll end up paying the consequences. Thank you.
Caroline, Don, please.
I've heard a lot about speeding too, going door to door during my campaign. And I agree that we do need more police presence. I think by contacting the OPP and possibly with their guidance, setting up some kind of radar checks. So an occasional speeding ticket will definitely slow a whole bunch of them down. As far as the break-ins, I must, by ignorant of that, this is the first I'm hearing of it. But that is an issue again. I think by contacting the OPP, they're not ignoring us. They have roads to do as well as all communities that are policed by them. So I think they're more than willing to work with us, but that's, as I agree with the other councilors, let's get together ourselves and do something. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Don, please.
Thank you. I guess it all comes down to cost. And with you, the taxpayers, Stirling-Rawdon are willing to do. My understanding is that if we would have kept our own police force, that would be 80% of our budget, current budget, which would be 20% to do all the things we like to do to make sure that it's a nice, safe place to live. With flush the toilet and it works, and turn the water on and it works. So we would have been really hard pressed. Again, we are not about to call, as a councilor, do too much. You have to phone the OPP and you have to be diligent. I haven't heard much about break-ins either, but you have to be diligent. I heard a lot about speeding, and I live on Church Street, and we have a lot of speeding, especially now with the construction going on. So people, please phone. And if you want to have more police, it's going to cost us tax dollars. I would estimate a policeman here would be over $300,000 just for one policeman staying in Stirling. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Okay, let's see how you can answer this one in 1 minute. What is the number one issue facing the new council? I'll start with you, Jeremy.
Well, I think, as I mentioned at the start, our number one issue in this township is our roads infrastructure. And our new council needs to start lobbying our upper governments and getting all the neighboring municipalities to go together so we can get some sustainability funding that we receive on a yearly basis that is geared towards infrastructure. That's the number one, I think, that we gotta get working on, because we need more money than what we bring in on taxes from all you ratepayers to get our roads back to even half decent than what they are at this point.
totally agree with, Mr. Holmes, Jeremy. It is a money issue, and it is probably also a managing issue. When I see the crew out there fixing the potholes, to me, it seems very amateurish. They just put the stuff in the hole, drive over it once, twice over it, and that's it. It's no tamping down, no nothing. And I think we can organize it much better. We have to have worksheets, work orders that the crew goes out street by street, and that it's better organized. And the number one issue is the streets here, yes.
Thank you, Kristen. Dean, please.
Number one issue definitely will be roads and infrastructure. And we definitely have to lobby and pound the other two bigger levels of government to help us on this, because there's no way we can do it on our own. Thank you.
TJ, please.
I believe the roads, the bridges, all that has to be addressed. Not only you have to tighten up this budget a lot, but we need more government help as well.
Bob.
I think undoubtedly funding is our biggest problem. If we have more funds, we would be able to look after a lot of the problems. Stirling-Rawdon is responsible for 100% of our infrastructure. Unlike many of our neighboring, all of our neighboring municipalities, we do not qualify for connecting link funding. So on the bridge breaks in Stirling, all 31 of them, the roads are degraded, it's up to the taxpayer to pick up the dollars. We need to go after the provincial and federal levels of government who get 93% of the tax dollar to at least share a portion of that.
Bill?
We all basically have the same idea in here. We do need to ensure that every grant possible we apply for, which seems to be the case. And we need to try, our main handicap here is the fact that we're landlocked. So we do not get as much or hardly any certain grants that apply to communities that do have access to highways. And we do need to press our MP and our MPP to try and do as much as they can for us in the future. Thanks.
I think we're all on the same page as far as the funding goes. This travels back quite a ways when amalgamation hit us. We had 2 provincial highways coming in to the village. We had 2 county roads coming into the village. And the other 2 roads were shared by Sydney Township and Rawdon Township. So there was always assisted funding. We have to persuade the government. It wasn't our idea to amalgamate, it was theirs. So maybe they can come back with some of the money they have taken away from us over the years. Thank you.
Thank you, John. John, please.
So I'm gonna have to, I was gonna try a joke and say something else, but I think we all agree that it is roads and infrastructure, bridges. A good example would be the Bylaw Road coming into the village of Stirling. Last we had was $6 million was the estimated figure. I put a motion through 2 years ago. We have engineering report all set to go on that one. However, so $6 million and a 1% tax increase gives the municipality of Stirling-Rawdon approximately $60,000. If you do the math, you can figure out we can't do that on our own. As other people have mentioned, we need help from the upper levels of government. We have a huge bridge deficit, especially some of the bridges in Rawdon, and we need to start addressing those issues. These cost a lot of money, and it's up to the ratepayers how much they want to spend. Thank you. We would love to do all the roads tomorrow, believe me.
Caroline?
So I'll agree with everyone else and say roads and infrastructure are right there at the top, but also planning, future planning. What do we want Stirling to be? What do we want Stirling to look like 10 years from now? With all this new subdivisions going in, yes, we can attend to infrastructure and roads, but we also need to look at what else there is for people to do, what their quality of life is. So future planning is going to be right up there, and increased communication. Thank you.
This is one of the questions that came in on the computer. I'm not very smart. I can't get the type big. So I gotta really try to read what this says. And here's what it says. How are you going to fix the roads in the township without raising taxes, which has gone up year after year, and we are seeing nothing for the money we are just paying in taxes? No, this we better have everybody 1 minute on that question. How are we going to fix the roads in the township without raising taxes, which have gone up year after year, and we're seeing nothing for the money we are paying in taxes?
Just talked about.
It's kind of the same thing. I hate for someone to submit a question and say, I submitted it, didn't even read it. Do you think we've covered that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, now you get this one. Can the Harold Quarry fiasco be readdressed with public input and awareness?
What was that?
Can the Harold Quarry fiasco be readdressed with public input and awareness?
Why?
I asked the question. Anybody want to have a minute on that, or is this a tough deal, or? Okay, if you're going to go, John, everybody's going to go. So let's have a minute. If you only take half a minute, great. You
No,
take
it's more than a minute. So if you sat where I sat in with staff, you would have made exactly the same decision. Here's the analogy I would use. If you have a car, and we say, the insurance company says to you, if you keep that car, we're not going to insure that car. In fact, if you keep that car, we're not even going to insure your house. That's what we were told. If we didn't get control of the quarry, we would have zero insurance. There are two companies in Ontario, possibly Canada, who insure municipalities. They talk to each other, much like if you get in a car accident, I can switch insurance companies, I can save some money. They won't know, they talk to each other. So we would not have been able to get insurance for the municipality. That includes our equipment and that includes the liability. So we had no choice as a council to do what we did.
Want to say something on that question?
I don't believe that we cannot switch insurance. Everybody can switch insurance. It just takes time and effort to find an insurance that can insure us. Liability, I don't know where that is. If you put up signs, swim on your own risk, or no lifeguard present, that should be fine. Fencing in the quarry with a fence that costs almost $50,000 to keep people actually inside because it looks like a prison fence. It's installed the wrong way. And I don't think that this is a good thing. It should have been put to the public. If people want to, maybe pay more in insurance, but have access to the water.
Thank you, Kristen. Anyone else like to address? No?
The main issue with the quarry was how it was handled. There was no public input as to why it was closed. It was passed because of a majority situation within council. We were not told exactly how much more it was going to cost us if we switched to another insurance company. They did not tell us why we were going to shut down. The only issue that Quarry ever had was a suicide. Nobody else ever had any serious injuries. So why the insurance company would threaten to close, cancel our account, made no sense at all. But the main issue is the fact that it was passed because of the majority situations, and the people should have been questioned as to what they felt like.
Anyone else?
Debbie.
Okay?
I agree 100% because, people in town, they turn the taps on, but a lot of people in Springbrook, not Sterling, but outside town, they don't have their wells run dry every year. And like, we've always used the quarry to haul water for toilets and everything, and you can put signs up. And I think we could have worked with insurance company and figured this all out, and we could have talked to each other more than what we did, But regardless of anything, I think that you still can talk to other insurance companies, see what can be done.
Anyone else? There's only 2 insurance companies that will cover municipalities. Only 2. And as John said, they communicate. We don't have a third choice. The quarry has been an issue for a number of years. We signed it. We put dates on it. They were ignored. The fences were cut. We were forced into a position where we had to take action or lose our insurance. After we closed the quarry, we kept it open for a year on demand. We had 4 people using water for that quarry. We tested that water. It didn't even come back as testable. It was so foul.
Their time. Anyone else like to address that issue?
She wants to say one more thing.
I'll jump in.
We'll just have 1 minute each. You haven't had a minute.
Just very quickly, I went a couple of times to the St. Mary's Quarry, just outside of Stratford, and the Aurora Quarry. My memories of them, they were really cold. Just out of curiosity and in preparing for this meeting, I Googled both of those to see how other municipalities dealt with it. If you want a bit of a shocker, Google the Aurora Quarry and see how many people have died there in the last 5 years. Because if something happens in a remote location, it's hard to get help. I'm sure that's one of the things that was discussed. Safety is paramount for any council to look at, and sometimes you do have to act quickly if there's a concern comes up. Do I agree maybe there could have been some more communication? Absolutely, but I think it was the right decision to make.
Everyone's had their 1 minute on that question. Maybe we'll move on to another question. Our bylaw officer is shared by 5 municipalities. Many municipalities have their own bylaw officer. Would it not be fair to our residents to have our own so that the bylaws can be properly dealt with? Okay, I will start this time with Kirsten.
I knew I had to start with that. I am not familiar with this topic. I'm happy to look into it and see with what solution we can come up. And I absolutely agree with the question that we should have at least our own bylaw officer, if we don't even have our own police anymore, which we, by the way, pay still for the pensions and benefits. Bylaw officers are very busy always, and I think we should maybe look into it, and I will happily do that for you and come back on this for you.
Thank you. Dean?
The bylaw enforcement officer, I think it's a good example of a service that should be shared with another or many municipalities. It's not like it's a policing issue where if you form a bylaw officer, you walk in there in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, there's an emergency. You're not calling 911 for bylaw bylaw officer. So to help keep the costs down, definitely should be shared services with neighboring municipalities.
You think he's going to do all?
DJ?
I was at a meeting where this lady was talking about a year and a half ago, and she talked to town council, she talked to the CEO, and the bylaw officer out there was out there, but the dog never was barking or anything, it was in the house. So if a year and a half, and then on top of that, when the bylaw officer got more involved in it, he went on 2 weeks holiday. I still don't think it's gonna be solved yet. So I don't know, I think we gotta get the bylaw officer doing the job he's supposed to do first.
True.
We do have a shared service with our bylaw enforcement, and it's shared out as in so many hours for each area. And Stirling, and as well as Peter, use the most hours of the week compared to the other municipalities that are involved in the system. So anyways, the bylaw officer, when he's here, he does what he has to do, and we can't afford to have a full-time bylaw officer on staff. So that's why we went to the shared service, to be able to supply a full-time wage for one guy that look after more than one municipality, and be able to have all the training that it takes to be able to do the job correctly.
I think Jeremy just answered a good question for me.
Okay. Bill, please.
Chair, the bylaw officer is saving us money, but we have to ensure that he does his job properly. Like TJ said, there is a case still ongoing. It's a 2-year, so far it's been going on for 2 years, and she still has not been satisfied as to her complaint about the barking dogs. And when I was going door to door canvassing, this home has a huge iron gate up. And as soon as I approached it, there was at least 6 what I would consider vicious dogs there. And it's actually the neighbor that made the complaint about the barking. And when I was there to drop off a sign, I heard those dogs barking like crazy. So he just needs to do his job better.
Bill, Caroline, please.
I think in a village like Stirling, in a township like Stirling-Rawdon, we accept the fact that we have pretty much everything we need, not necessarily everything we want. So although it would be great to have our own bylaw officer, et cetera, financially, I'm not sure if we want to keep raising taxes to cover all the things we want, as opposed to covering all the things we need. So differentiating between what we need and what we want is really important when we're looking at budgets. I had to do the same thing when I was running the Sterling Theater. We had a budget of over $1 million a year, but things cost money, so you figure out where to go. So if sharing a bylaw officer makes sense, I think it's a good way to go. Thanks.
Thank you. We are very fortunate. We have a very, very good system called a complaint form system. If you have a complaint, you file it, and you phone the municipal office and say, I want to file an official complaint. All the councilors get a copy of that, the mayor does, and it goes to the appropriate staff. That includes the bylaw officer. People want to have pets, and going door to door, there are a lot of dogs. There are a lot of dogs around. A lot of them might want to take a leg off. Fortunately, they have strong doors. However, people live and have dogs, and is it their right to have a dog? Yes. Should it bark? No. Should the neighbors be able to complain if it does bark? Yes. That's the role of the bylaw officer. But not the role of the council to say you cannot have dogs on your property. Those dogs need to be controlled at all times. That's where the complaint form comes in, and it's a very, very good system. I encourage all of you, if you have a complaint against anything, to use that system, because it is handled very well. Thank you.
Don,
officer possibly has been there but can't get in because the dogs won't let him. That's the way I understood it. If you're at the iron gate, how's he supposed to get in and knock on the door?
Bill, can we get a question from the audience? These are the people that came here, and they're the ones that should get the questions answered first. Here.
Over here, Bill.
Oh, he's had his hand up for a long time.
Take pride, Bill.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking my question. I am interested in the constituents, position regarding future growth of the community, both commercial and residential. And if possible, if we could start on this end and work our way down, because the new candidates are the ones that we really don't know.
I've had a number, maybe two more questions about growth. And so I think this is worthy of having a good discussion. And so we're going to go with 2 minutes. And when this is over, we'll have our break. I'll decide what order. I have a little sequence where we take turns as who's to start first the next time. According to this, my records, Dean starts in the Ward 3, Ward 1 first. Dean, go ahead.
Forgot the question now.
No, that's exactly what you do. Repeat your question, sir.
My question was what your position is regarding the future growth of Stirling-Rawdon, both commercial and residential.
Okay, thank you. I think growth for the community is very important, but it needs to be done properly. I think as far as residential growth, it's going at a good pace right now. How much land we have left, how far out is it going to go? But I like the pace what I see now. I think commercially, we need to do a lot of work. We need to get some type of industry, whether it's, if we're waiting for the broadband to come in at the high-speed internet, so we can have that type of industry in town or something, but that needs to be addressed for sure, commercially.
TJ?
I look like this. The brown shoe factory is sitting there doing nothing, and nothing's been done in years, and there's so many things that can be done with that. I mean, I think business-wise, so many things, but a lot of people don't want to come to Stirling because our roads are so bad. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. I have that many people say that. But as for spreading, I honestly think you have so much room for growth in Stirling. You only have so much room, and you're going to grow a little bit, but the farmers, even the farmers are feeling that the farmland is shrinking more and more all the time, and everybody wants a house out in the country, but I don't know, but I think business in town is what needs to be addressed more.
Jeremy, please.
Okay, first off, with the growth of business stuff, our economic development needs to maybe increase a little bit working with the county as they have a nice big department of economic development to work with for the business side of things. And as far as our residential growth in the township, I think it's going at a good pace at this point. We do have our Hastings County that assists us in controlling where we are allowed to build our homes in the township, which helps save the farmland. And in the village, it takes a little bit of a process for a subdivision to go through, so sometimes everybody hears all these plans, but in the end, only two do succeed because they got a lot of work to get that project together and make it happen.
With the future business development and residential growth, I believe that really deep studies have to be done about traffic impact, about water wells impact, sewage impact, and that the public also has to have the chance to voice their opinions and not just have to accept, oh, new development comes up there and we have to pay for it. And we need really good and sound planning. I right now don't know how to do it, but I will learn about it, and I will really engage in this topic. And also what I see, we have to preserve prime agricultural land to grow our food. And in the last years, prime agricultural land was downgraded to marginal land and then open up for developments. And I also would like to look into how to attract businesses. Maybe with some tax relief when they start building, like for instance, we get now at Tim Hortons. We have never heard of a franchise coming here until one council meeting, and it was, we were told, yeah, Tim Hortons comes in. What do they bring, what do they pay when they are building new buildings, when sewer lines have to be extended, and how does it impact the traffic? Do people want a Tim Hortons or not? I would like to see, for instance, a giant tiger or something like that in this town.
The homes are gonna continue being built. All the phases aren't even completed in two of the bigger developments we have. But for future developments within the township, we have to be concerned, especially in the village area, we have to be concerned with running out of water possibly. The more new homes that go up, more water will be used. And there has been an occasion in the past where our well go dry. So we have to prevent that. Now, commercially, we're losing more businesses than we're attracting. We're not really doing a good job of promoting Stirling as a commercial go-to place. Thank you.
Please.
Attracting new business is something that's done by the county. We work with the county to achieve that. We get them leads. I talked to the county economic development officer today, Christine McPhee. She's excellent. She plays a role in new business development, grants, Trendville. We work with all these associations when we get leads towards new businesses. Sterling on its own isn't going to attract a major employer. We just don't have the resources. We're going to continue to be I don't like the term, but a bedroom community. We did a strat plan about 12 years ago. It was updated at the beginning of this council. One of my goals in the new term will to be have a public meetings and do a strat plan again. That's where the public input is put in as to where they want to see Sterling in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. As far as the infrastructure, we had a major infrastructure study done in 2019, 2018, and 2019. It was approved in 2019. That gave us a very good, complete outline of what our infrastructure within the village looks like. And that's allowing us to grow within our current needs. It's also what directs us when it comes to road repairs and bottlenecks. Sterling is very popular right now, as you probably noticed. We've got some major subdivisions happening. They don't happen overnight. It was a long-term process to get where we are. I've never heard of a well in Sterling River Drive. We brought a new one in this year. We had a hydrological study done when that was drilled. That well is virtually unpumpable. You can pump it forever and it doesn't go dry.
I'm not sure. Okay, Caroline, please.
Of course. I agree with everything that Bob said, and I had no problem saying that Sterling is a vibrant community. I looked up the last survey that was done of our population. The vast majority of people who live in Sterling don't work in Sterling, they work elsewhere. They come here to live because it's a great place to live. So you look at how many services Sterling offers. We have a bank, we have a veterinarian, we have 2 drugstores, we have 2 hardware stores. We have, again, we go need and want. We have the things we need. Should we, what are we murmuring about? Yes, there is, right on North Street. The vets?
Yeah,
North Street.
Yes.
I go there, Hastings Vets.
They're using up your
I'm
time.
using up my time. Now I lost my train of thought. We have grocery stores, we have all the things we need, but there's service industries. In the 26 years that I've been here, I've seen a lot of retail places come and go, come and go. It's really hard to have a bricks and mortar store because you need enough people to go there to buy the product to keep their doors open. And we have trouble doing that. But Jimmy's has been there since longer than I've been there. I have a feeling that Jimmy's will be there 100 years from now because it's what Sterling wants. Sterling dictates what it wants. We'll follow the path and we'll figure out where it's going 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now.
Don, please.
We're talking about retail stores. What do retail stores need? They need customers. Where the customers come from? They come from our population. So residential development is necessary. We have more people, they'll use our stores. Our stores will stay because they're being profitable. As far as the farmland and the township going, the new official plan came down from Ontario 5 years ago, about, was it? Yeah, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Anyways, they designated prime agriculture as marginal agriculture, which should have been done years ago, because a lot of these places that are marginal agriculture now, all they can grow is with rocks. But now these people that own this property have the option of severing off lots, making some money on their land, and growing their community. And that is tax dollars for the township as well, which needs development, which adds more people to our community, which increases the profit to our retail stores and gives us more choices to have in the town. I agree with residential development, and I agree with the commercial development as well.
Thank you, Don. John?
There's no list there, but I seem to be last all the time. Anyway, yeah, it is, growth is important, and we need to do that. We need to plan growth is an important thing. It's very difficult to set up a piece of property on prime ag, so it should be. We actually pointed out there's not a lot of prime ag in some places in this municipality. Some places have great primary agricultural land, and that should not be developed. However, when we do a development is done, and it's not on the taxpayers. That is done on the developer. So the new housing that's going in the various places is not coming out of your tax dollars. It is coming out of the developer, and they're making money when they sell the houses. As far as the infrastructure is concerned, our sewage and our water systems are good for the next 50 years. I believe the plan came out and planned growth as received by the consultants that we hired. So I think we're good all the way around. As far as commercial development, as was pointed out, that depends on the people in the audience who are going to go and use stores instead of driving to Belleville, or ordering on Amazon, going to a store in downtown and using those stores. It would be nice if this downtown was full of stores, nice to have a Stedman's again, nice to have all those businesses again. That's up to the people who need to use those stores. We have the farmers market, the BIA, which I sit on, has worked very, very hard to increase its footprint within Stirling-Rawdon. We will continue, the BIA will continue to do that, and I encourage everyone to continue to shop in Stirling, come to the farmers market. Friday's the downtown one, and it should be a good time, and it is a good thing to live here and watch the growth that's happening. We need to grow or we will not exist, and that's the bottom line. We need to have new development, new houses, new people, hopefully new businesses come in and being used by the residents of Stirling-Rawdon right across, not just in Stirling, Rawdon as well. Thank you.
I'm gonna be tired in a second, so we're gonna have about a 15 or 20-minute break now. I want to thank everybody for their cooperation, especially the candidates. Kept right on time, and that was great. So 20 minutes lost. I don't know if you got to go or not, but you should see our new washroom. We do a week of cleaning, that's like after the day.
Outside of this, we'll get some water.
Thank you. I wanted to find out if you could hear me, so just speak up.
No, but when we speak, like, and separate the words.
Okay. I got an English lesson already.
How are ya? I cannot think of your name in the court. I know exactly who you are. Yes, yeah. The countryside this year. And it's not hugely busy, but and I'm finding that place that I could just, it's great to get together, but it's like one more thing. No problem.
Okay, are we ready to go? Thanks again for being on time. When I was walking around on the break, the lady handed me a question, but she had to go home and feed her dog. But she said, I'm gonna watch it when I get home, and you better ask my question. So I gotta ask her a question. I think she might know where to live too. So this is a 1-minute answer. I would like to know what the schedule is for the township ditch maintenance to clean out the weeds in Rawdon Township. One minute, and with all the crying from Mr. Rock, we can go first.
Thank you. As you may or may not be aware, staff has received a fair bit of pushback over the last 4 years on doing any ditching. And for that reason, I think our ditching program sort of was done very carefully and watched very carefully with every road manager looking over his shoulder all the time. So the answer specifically to the question, I am, as a councilor, I do not tell the road manager what roads to ditch, what roads not to ditch. That is his business and his expertise is done there. But I do know it's been a very difficult 4 years for any ditching to occur because of concerns from members of council. And that has caused some things not to be done that probably should have been done. And I would hope in the future that we will proceed in an orderly fashion, planned fashion, to make public ditches acting to what it should be. Thank you.
Caroline, please.
So there are some things that I am not going to be able to answer tonight, and that is one of them. I will say that when it comes to ditches, I'm a quick study, and I will certainly read up on ditch maintenance should I be an elected member of council. Thank you. Don?
I guess that's me. I'll agree with John. The simple reason I'm Ward 2 and I'm not privy to the ditch management calendar. So, but I am, like Caroline, willing to find out for whoever is interested in that. Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to know that schedule too. I was a delegation at the Transport Committee a few weeks ago, and to inform them that a tragic and fatal accident happened actually on my road in the ditch. And I recommended to either ditch it out, put warning signs up, or improve it in any way they can. And so far, I have not gotten any feedback on that.
Thank you, Kirsten. Jeremy?
So at this point in the past years, ditching program consists of, we do a new gravel haul on a certain side road. They'll go to the side road and do all the ditching from one end to the other, as well as some shoulder recovery. And then as far as any other ditch in the township, it's kind of on a needs basis as they're going around the township and there's spots where water's backing up. Because not everybody likes the ditch freshly cleaned out in front of their home, because it's a lot deeper than it was before the fact. But like I said, when a gravel haul is happening and from one end to the other on the road, they clean the ditch from one end to the other, and other spots is done on a needs basis.
Ditch is kind of funny because, like, I know a person that lives on Kings Mills Road. He asked for this ditching done, and he's been to town council, and like his property floods all the time. And they've done Kings Mills Road, and yet they didn't do his ditching. So usually they do the ditching, but it seems to me that they don't like you. They don't always do the ditching. But besides that, I'm just saying that they usually have a program. They do the road, they do the ditching, unless there's a complaint or something like that.
Thank you. Dean?
Yeah, Jeremy's basically giving you the answer is, as they're doing other work on the road, that's when they're gonna start doing the ditches. I wasn't aware of any problems they've had over the last 4 years with township ditching. And Caroline, you won't have to worry too much about ditches, you won't have any in Sterling.
Bob?
Jeremy gave the answer that it's correct. The only thing I can add to that is that with the additional land clearing and climate changes, ditches are becoming more of an issue. So that we're having to do, I guess the other problem we're having right now is culvert replacements. As you probably noticed on 14, that steel culvert is good between 30 and 40 years and then it collapses. We haven't been able to keep up with that program, so when you put in new culverts, you also correct the issues in the ditches so that the water drains away from the culvert and doesn't sit down.
Since we are not shown anything to show when certain ditches are gonna get done, what I would recommend is calling. If you have a ditch, let's say on your property that is in need of repair sooner than when it's scheduled for. So best thing to do is call up and ask for them to do it. Same thing applies to the gravel roads, like the dirt roads. If you call them, they will come out. If you find them on a pothole, they will come out again if you request. And we have a whole line of lilac trees on our property. And in the past, my wife has asked that they not be thrashed. So again, just ask.
This next question will be a 30-second answer. If elected, will you return to the previous format of voting in person with a ballot? And I'm going to start with Caroline.
I think the world is moving online. I think there's always a way to get things done. I was the poll supervisor for the last 4 federal elections. Ballots are terrific, but online is, I think, a reality, and I think it's going to stick with it. And I know there are going to be problems, and people who will need assistance will offer that assistance. Thank you.
Don, I'm sorry. I believe the online is here to stay. It does allow a lot more voters to vote where we cannot do it because of work commitments or other commitments. It is unfortunate that some seniors don't have the facilities, but we do have a phone line they can use. So I agree with it. I would like to see it stay. I would like, as Caroline said, to provide help for people that have difficulty doing it online. And I think it will catch on. Thank you.
Jeremy?
Well, I was part of the decision to change to online and telephone banking, or telephone voting. Anyways, I do think it's a good idea, and any of the decisions I made in the past about mail-ins or this, it was all done on voter turnout. So if the voter turnout numbers are a lot higher than they have been in the past, that's the system we'll stick with.
Well, I will bring back the ballot voting because the electronic voting has no recourses. We cannot control, we cannot scrutinize, and the only ID you have to show is your date of birth. Everything else, when you are ID at the liquor store or you go to or other government institutions, you have to show an ID with a photo on you, from you. And now you only have to have a date of birth. I think this system is really set up for a lot of problems and manipulation. So I like the paper ballot, and if you vote, if people want to vote, they fill out the ballot. Doesn't matter if it's electronic or not, they will vote.
Thank you. Dean?
I like the online voting, I like the phone voting. But I still like the mail-in as well. I think it's gonna be a question that needs to be answered after this election, just to see how the turnout is. Hopefully it's better, hopefully it's the best we've had. The online is pretty secure. As far as being able to vote, you're provided with this 12-digit PIN number. You can only use it once. You can't use it twice. You can only use it once, so it is secure. I think that's what, if you get a second PIN number, if you get a PIN number from somebody that doesn't live in your household anymore, it is against the law to vote if you're not the owner of that PIN number. So that's another thing to remember. Thanks, Mike.
I believe that the ballots are better because I feel that Amish is left out. I feel that the elderly people are, I talked to people and I did what do you call it, a seminar about it at the township meeting, and I said, a lot of the elderly people who did not have computers, a lot of them did not want to sit at the phone, press this button, press that button. And I just feel that you're leaving too many people out. I feel that ballots is the better way to go for everybody.
Thank you. Please.
As part of the council to make the decision to go electronic voting, I will be curious to see how the numbers turn out. I have every reason to believe that they should be better. It's a very secure system, and as Dean pointed out, if you vote twice or if you take a vote for somebody that's not deceased, it's against the law.
A small number of us were actually allowed to participate in this discussion, and by not a lot of us got that information, but we all had some input to put in, and so they decided to go with this system. But there was probably only about 200 people that bothered to fill out the questionnaire. I'm not fond of it, even though I've worked the last 2 elections in Ontario, and they do have a computerized system. You still have to show ID, proper ID, in order to get the ballot before you put it into the machine. And that's what we're lacking with this system. And the MPAC and the system that we're using to provide the voters list for us, MPAC, it doesn't involve, well, anyway, it's not accurate, and we need to find a better way to come up with it.
I should have just mentioned the lady that was bitching about the ditching. Her sump pump went out into the ditch, and the ditch wasn't cleaned and her basement filled with 2 feet of water. So she was very serious about that, asking that question. So appreciate the answer. Should have mentioned that before. Let's get some questions from the floor. Did I not ask you? Well, I asked you the last time so many times. Yeah, sorry, John.
No problem. No problem. So like all the councilors, all people running for elections, I was able to attend the Zoom meeting that gave us the outline from the company in Nova Scotia who runs this, the president, right after the hurricane. He was able to give us a rundown from his office, and it seems to me like a very secure system. I believe it's used in 100 jurisdictions in Ontario. It's used right across Canada, and actually used in the States as well. It's used for union voting, it's used for Aboriginal voting for chiefs. It's a very secure system, as been pointed out. I voted in favor of it. I think it's the way to come. Going door to door, talking to seniors, which I do a lot. I explain the system to them, and no one has said this is impossible. There is a helpline. If you don't know how to do it, the helpline will help you. As a councillor or as a candidate, you cannot go and help someone yourself. That's illegal. But if you phone, we have a help desk, and they will help you.
Let's get some questions over here. Bill, there's one right there. Go ahead, man.
So I think we can all agree that good communication in community is important.
my question is for all members, but first, I'd like to ask the existing council members how the input that they obtained from the community in this summer's public meeting at the theater was used in the decision about the process about water and sewer rates increases. I'd like to know how you use the community input. For the other members that are not part of council yet, I would like to know how you would include residents in the decision-making process like these.
Don't ask me to repeat that question, but everyone understand it?
Nope.
Here.
Can you repeat it, please? I didn't get it. Bill?
Can't hear you. When you held a community meeting discussing the water and sewer rates increases, I would like to know how you use the input that you received from the community members in making this decision. For the members that are not on council currently, I would like to know how you would include community members and residents in this decision-making process moving forward.
Okay, we'll start with the existing council first, with the first part of that question. This will have to be a 2-minute, and so we'll start with Tom.
We have a public open meeting, I don't know how many people attended it this summer, for the new water rates. That's a study that we have done, I believe it went back in the middle of last year. There was a number of questions from the floor, we tried answering them at that time. We went back to the consultant that did that study, he was also present in that meeting, with his ideas and suggestions from the floor. He reviewed how they were going to affect the rates, whether they could be implemented or not. It turned out that a lot of the people under the new rates are actually paying less than they were under the old rates. It's a much fairer system. You're paying for the volume of water you use. You're paying more the more you use. The old system, you were paying a base rate, and then beyond that, you're paying a lower rate per liter. So the new rate is a bit of a reverse on that. Yes, there's a problem with public input. We've had issues with COVID, as everybody knows. Public meetings have been challenging in the best of times. There is a complaint process, an online complaint process. Those are shared. John Rock has referred to them tonight. If you have complaints, that's the way to bring them in.
Well, I don't really have much to add to Bob's, what Bob has mentioned about public meeting system. We do advertise a public meeting, hoping that we get a lot more attendance at the meeting, because we are trying to watch the people as they speak to us to make an informed decision. And we do not get the attendance at a public meeting that is important as that one, as I thought we should have had. So with what was heard and what we get from our consultants, we make our decision the best ability we can, because that's why you people vote us into that position.
John, please.
My glasses. Yes, thank you, Ian. It's always been an issue, and I was looking back over my 4-year ago campaign information, and one of the things I strive for was for more public input, more an open process. I believe the process is open. We do listen to the public, and I mentioned that in my opening statement. You listen to the public, but in the end, you have to do what's best for everybody. And the information that was presented to us was that we needed to increase the money we were putting aside, because a lot of the pipes in the ground we have in Stirling right now that within the village of Wynn Ward 2 are 1931 issue. We're still there, that's why they break so often. So we need to start putting money aside to take care of that infrastructure deficit. And that was why the study was done. And we listened to the consultant. We've had a very good program. And if you were at the council meeting, I used my last water bill as an example. And over the next 2 years, my water rates will decrease. Then we'll start a slow increase. And that's unfortunate. unfortunate, but that's the way it has to be. We have to repair the lights in the ground. 1931, it costs a lot of money. Every time you see one of those hydrovacs pumping out water and dirt from a water leakage, that's costing a lot of money of your tax dollars that should be going towards fixing those lights so they don't burst in the first place. So as far as the public input is concerned, that's always an issue. When we do have public meetings, as been pointed out, we get a small turnout, which is unfortunate, and we do listen. We do wish. You don't think we want to not raise the water rates. You don't think that we don't want to have to put money aside. We have to do that for everybody. It's for the good of everyone in this room who lives in Ward 2. So please understand, we want to do the best for everybody, not just for 1 or 2 people, but for everybody. And you need to take that into consideration when you're making out your vote. It's for everyone, and we are moving ahead as best we can and as cheap as we possibly can. Thank you.
Bill, please.
So, since everybody, the only way you're gonna get notice of any meeting that's coming up, especially the important things like the water rates or the quarry closing down, you have to have internet access. So you either have to go to the website and look for yourself, or if you follow Stirling-Rawdon on Facebook, you'll get a notice on Friday about an upcoming meeting, and you'll be able to see the agenda. So something else needs to happen for important issues like that. Why not just send everybody a message through the mail? Then everybody sees that particular notice. It may be a small expense. I don't know how many letters would have to be mailed out, $1, whatever it is now. But that's the only way you're going to know is through that source. Thank you.
That's a very good question. I do agree with John, and it's notifying the public. Any turnout, I think, is probably the biggest problem that we have, or that I've heard. And I think if we could somehow increase public input, and again, I'm not sure how you would do that, whether it's like letters in the mail with your tax bill on the web page, but definitely greater input from the public is needed. Thank you.
TJ, please.
I believe firmly that there should be more communication. I was at the meeting, and a lot of people were upset that they didn't have, going on the computer, you got that flashy sign that you can talk to the, I don't know who runs it, but you never ask, you never know. Why not put them on there? Also, I'll walk everyone to every house if I have to, so people can have more knowledge about these meetings if it works out faster, if they can't afford it in the township. I believe totally and honestly in open communication. I don't feel this township is doing that.
Kirsten?
Yeah, public communication is key here. I have attended the meetings, and it is a very short time frame what you have when you get the agenda put on the website on Friday afternoon and for the Monday meeting. You only have the weekend to prepare, to research, etc. So I would like to see an agenda for an upcoming council meeting at least 10 days before that posted, so everybody has time to research. The website is key, of course. Then maybe there could be done mailings, advertising for special meetings, sending info with the water bill or the tax bill, add a newsletter to the tax bill and post the newsletter on the website. And communication is all, but it is also listening to the people. But you people have to engage with the council also. You need to come to the council meetings. It's unfortunate that the website is not very user-friendly, I find, and but we can improve that, I'm sure. And please attend and send the questions. either email, phone in, contact the council members. That is really very important that you engage with us. Thank you.
Line, please.
Yeah, I remember when I first moved to Sterling, in the 2 papers I believe we had back, and I remember newspapers, they were these things you would get. And there was a council report in there every week, so you could read what happened at council. And unfortunately, with the demise of newspapers, we kind of lost that. And being that I worked in an industry where you spend a lot of time trying to tell people what you're doing at the theater, here's what we're doing, buy a ticket. And we had to get really aggressive in hitting people again and again and again and again, because there's a magic rule of 3. If you hear something 3 times, generally it soaks in. I'm not 100% sure how we do that as a township, but it would be great to go back to something that's easily accessible. I spend time on the Sterling, Ontario Facebook page every day. It's where you get the best gossip and the pulse of what's going on in Sterling. It's fascinating. So what we're posting there, putting things in with the tax and water bills, hitting people with the information over and over again that this is what we're doing, this is a meeting you need to attend. If I'm elected to council, I will do my best to make sure that we're getting the communication out, that it's the citizens' responsibility to make sure you come in and engage. You'll hear me say that a lot, you've got to engage. And stand up and be loud. That's okay. Thanks.
Yeah, one question was, what do we do with your input? I think council does a lot. They appreciate your input. I know I did. Going around door to door, introducing myself for this election. I had a lot of people air their concerns, and I fully need to bring this to council if elected, and if not elected, I'm still going to make available to council so they can address it. But I think they want that. They want that input. As far as getting out the notification of the meeting, I think that's something maybe council now, after hearing this, will likely work on. So there is better communication between them and the public. Yes, your input is very important on any issue, whether it be a traffic sign or your water rates, whatever. We as councilors, which I am not yet, but we do require that input so we can deal with it. Thank you.
I've got to get that gossip hotline. That sounds interesting. Anyway, that was a great question. Thank you very much. Let's get another question. There's a hand up way over there.
No, okay, I'll do that. So thank you very much for coming out. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate all of you who put your names in the ring. I'm sure it's not an easy thing to do. I've been looking at I've been reading the information that's been coming out. And my question is for all of you, but I would really like to start with Bill, because it is a prime piece of your platform that you want to repair the roads. And I'd really like to hear from you what's your understanding of the process that's involved in making this great change that you're proposing as far as the roads are concerned. It sounds as if you're going to repair the roads and it'll be done. And it seems to me it's very much an ongoing process. So could you tell us something about how you plan to figure out which roads to be focused on and where you're going to get the money to do it, and how you're involving other levels of government? What's your background on this? How are you going to approach this? How are you going to bring this new road program to us?
Good question. The Stirling village itself, people have been complaining about the roads for as long as I've been here, which is a lot of years. And we just can't keep putting it off. The longer we put it off, the worse the roads are going to get. minor cost will be greater. Now, I'm not an expert on road repairs, but the township does use sources to get information and tenders and what have you. But sooner or later, we need to deal with this situation. We just can't wait. So, but it's easily done. All we do is we use one of the companies there that will check into it and check to see which roads need it the most. And we may not be able to fill every road in 1 year, but at least we gotta make a start. How long are we gonna keep telling people here, we're gonna take care of your roads, and then just neglect them for 4 years? And then 4 years from now, you'll hear the same thing if we don't get started. 4 years from now, they won't have been done, and we'll be asking the same thing again.
Excuse me, are you saying that nothing's been done in the last 4 years?
The roads,
Yes.
nothing major, the roads, they get, the potholes get filled, but then with, in the winters, it all cracks, and then as soon as it warms up, it all gets cracked.
Thank you, Bill. Other questions? We haven't got much more time. There must be another question or two.
Could we hear anything from some of the other people on the road?
You directed that specifically at him, sir, and
Yes.
so he's the one that would answer your question.
Okay.
Question over there?
Good evening, my name is Sherry Dracup. I'm a lifelong resident of Stirling. Welcome everyone, thank you all for running for this next election. My question is for each of you. What is your vision for Stirling-Rawdon? For the future of Stirling-Rawdon, personally and professionally? And in addition to that, who do you feel needs to be a part of this vision?
Well, due to the time, you're going to have to answer that question in 1 minute, or we'll be here till too late. That's the thing, Jerry. And maybe I'll start at the top. I can't put John last again. So John, you want to start?
Thank you. Happy to. My vision for Stirling-Rawdon is to continue to see the growth that we're seeing over the last few years. It is important that we grow, otherwise we won't be around. And it's also, people have said, well, we should amalgamate with Queen West or with Bell. With pluses and minuses, one of the things that I just got to think, we would have one representative sitting on a board of 15, 16 people, and that would be one representative for Stirling, maybe one for Rawdon, maybe. So I would think, we would hope to continue to see houses being built, people moving into the community, small businesses growing, developing, and I think that's a very important thing that we have that vision behind this, because we have the infrastructure, we have the sewage capacity, we have the water, we have a lot of good things going for us in Stirling-Rawdon, and we need to continue to grow that community in a way that is sustainable for the future. Thank you.
Thanks for the question, Sherry. I like to think of Stirling's future as being the place that I want to eventually retire, even though I'm never going to retire. The place that I want to stay and live in myself and all the people that I care about for as long as we can. A pet project I have, and it's possibly because I'm so involved in this myself, I think Stirling needs a good recreational facility, and it's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's not something that's going to happen tomorrow. But when we look at all the new building around, and we look at the number of young families, if you're not into hockey or ice skating, there's a bit of a challenge for what kids can do during the winter months, more often than the summer. So that's one thing I'm going to look at to see if it's possible, so that we can get all the other communities to come to Stirling to use our facilities, stay here, have a meal. Economic development is one of the things I'm going to be looking at. Thank you.
I agree with the development. We definitely have to move forward as we are now in order to have our tax base increase so we can take advantage of new roads, new sewers, new water. And I think we need to work over the last little while. The council needs to work within a better environment with the staff. I think there's more staff can do without imposing on them. And I think possibly over the last little while, their workplace has not been the most congenial to work in. So I think by working with the staff, that will move the village forward without a great cost. And I think we need to work with our residents. So together, we're all one big happy family, and we can continue to strive and move forward. Thank you.
11 years ago, we moved to our forever home. So my vision of Stirling is a lot of things. Namely, we need to better advertise ourselves as far as tourism is concerned. We need to get the theater more involved with more events. And we also need to better communicate. It's really lacking, the communication gap between council and the public. Nobody knows anything, it seems. And so I would like to see that get improved. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Bob, please.
The short answer is controlled growth. We have an official plan that we need to follow. We need development. We have a fairly high level of development charges, which is offsetting a number of our projects at the moment. It's important that we continue to grow in a controlled fashion. The other thing that I foresee, and it's not just Stirling-Rawdon, we've been doing this in the last 8 years, is shared services. If we're going to grow, we need professionals, and the only way we can afford professionals is to split their wages between multiple municipalities. Shared services are the way we're going to go. Otherwise, the province is going to force it on me. I would like to be in front of that, not behind it.
Like you, Sherry, I'm a lifetime or lifelong resident of Stirling-Rawdon. I think we need to continue the development and recreation to make, again, Stirling-Rawdon needs to be a benchmark for other communities that get measured against.
TJ, please.
I would like to see not only just more communication for all the taxpayers out there, but this budget, which is lumps everything together for years and years and years, all the, transportation, they have this much money. I'd like to see it more streamlined and more understandable so all taxpayers understand it. And I would like to, I see it's time that they sent letters out to get more money. I think it's time for the mayors to get together and say, let's go talk to Mr. Ford. Let's see if we get something done.
Thank you, Jim. Jeremy, please.
Just kind of echoing a little bit of some of the others with the development, filling in the holes, I think is kind of a vision that I see, and also filling in the holes that have had something there and it's gone. Let's try to get something back in them holes. And as well as I mentioned in my opening about sustainability funding, it is a dream to see them roads lead in and out of the village smooth again. So we need to get our other governments involved, and once we do, and it's not just Stirling-Rawdon, it's everybody's got to get work together and go after
I believe that Stirling can prosper and grow in a healthy way, and I have to agree with Shirley and Bill and also Jeremy. We need all to work together with surrounding municipalities and bring back the fun to Stirling, like the Water Buffalo Festival and other things, so people come and visit us, and many of them also stay here. And I want to stay here because, like Bill, we bought our forever home here. And we need improvement and attract businesses. And I will really work hard on it to get this done or work with the other councilors to have a plan, a long-term plan, how to improve Stirling. Thank you.
In order to be finished at 9 o'clock, we have to get final statements now. But there's a young lady in the back's got her hand up quite a bit. So I'd like to take her question, but I may include the answer to her question in your final summation of the last 2 minutes, because I promised people we'd be finished at 9. Go ahead, please.
Hi, and thank you for coming and participating in all of this. I really appreciate everybody volunteering their time to come here tonight. One question I really have, I come from a very small town, even smaller than Stirling-Rawdon, and it's been sucked up by a city and it's no longer existing. That's why I chose this area to come out to, because it reminds me of the home that I once had. Therefore, I want to know why, because I do have the experience from other small towns, why with Stirling-Rawdon having issues with security, theft, things like that. Okay, so we can't afford to have our own police force anymore. Why do we not have a volunteer auxiliary police force the same as we do for the fire department? No cost. They're volunteers.
Okay, thank you for that question, ma'am. What we're going to do now is have a final summation of 2 minutes. Remember that question when you're giving your final answer. We're going to go in reverse order that we started with earlier this evening. And so I'll be starting out with the mayor, office of the mayor, Bob Mullen. 2 minutes.
Sorry. The quick answer for the leasing issue is there is an auxiliary rate. It's run by the OPP and it's quite expensive. It's a training program. You can't just have people enforcing the law that aren't trained. It just doesn't work. Closing remarks. I take the role of the mayor of Stirling-Rawdon as a serious responsibility. I consider my work on council important and understand the time and effort it takes to do this work properly and with respect for all. My family supports me in this. My wife and I have owned our business for 27 years. And in going forward, our son Brad and his wife Danielle are carrying on for us. This allows me the time required for putting the needs of our community up front. It is very important that the role of the mayor is filled by someone who has that experience with the workings of the municipality, as well as experience in the business world. I feel that my 12 years on council, my 27 plus years of being in business in Stirling are a great benefit to my community. The township of Stirling-Rawdon is vibrant and alive, and it is my hope that you as voters will allow me to continue in the role of mayor so that I can help build on that vibrancy.
If elected, I would certainly look into that idea about having a police force that based on volunteers who are. So yeah, I would definitely look into that and see what the cost would be involved. Now, I've been going to all these meetings for all these 3.5 years, just to see if this is something I would be interested in doing. And based on the fact that so many of you want to change, this is your opportunity. Between the 17th and the 24th, you can make that happen.
Thank you, Bill. Kirsten, please.
Thank you very much for attending this meeting and taking time out of your busy schedule, and thank you for your questions. It was a pleasure meeting you all. If you vote for me, I will stand up for the residents and taxpayers, demand accountability and transparency. Not only will I listen to your concerns and questions, but actually hear you. I will look into reopening the quarry and try to make the budget more transparent and try to save the tax dollars. I will always support our farmers. I will work on bringing back the fun events to Stirling. We all can make this municipality better. The more brains are working on solutions, the better the solutions will be. I may not be as knowledgeable with municipal laws as my co-applicants, but one thing I do know, if we keep doing the same thing or voting for the same people thinking we will get a different result, we are only fooling ourselves. Isn't it time to vote for change? Please be careful also with the electronic voting. There's no paper ballots, no scrutiny used, and no recourse. We have to be very vigilant. I need your help to do the best I can to make this community a better place by voting for me, Kirsten Stirling. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart, and have a good night, and I wish all of you a very happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Kristen. Jeremy, please.
Well, this has been a successful evening here at the Lions Club, and I would just like to thank the Stirling Lions Club for hosting this all-canvas meeting. A thank you to the moderator, Sir Hugh Horder. Job well done in keeping things moving along all evening. I would like to thank all the ratepayers for attending to hear everyone's thoughts, taking time out of your busy schedules to be here. On October 24th, re-elect Jeremy Soames, making certain your voice is heard at council, effective fair use of your tax dollars. I have no self-agenda, just looking forward to working hard, keeping Stirling-Rawdon the #1 township to live. I am here to listen, and open mind can make a difference. Thanks for your time.
Thank you to the Lions Club for hosting this, and thank you for monitoring, first doing all the talking. Are you taxpayers really happy about the quarry being closed? This is a matter that could have been resolved with open dialogue. Are you extremely happy with roads in Stirling-Rawdon Township? How are the bridges that are falling apart? And Sign Road that has no railings at all. Majority of work done in Rawdon Township is brushing, ditching, grading, and putting gravel down. Some are grading, put calcium on to keep the dust down. Some taxpayers want to know what to do with the taxpayers' money. Farmers are talking about farmland that is shrinking. Taxpayers are talking about caucus meetings, and taxpayers are not getting to know what's going on behind closed doors. It's time for a transparent communication with taxpayers, plus a transparent budget, so taxpayers can see where the money is being spent. It's time to get things done and not just talk about it.
Dean, please.
Okay, first to answer the question, OPP has an auxiliary. I'm just not totally sure how they use it. So that's the end of that question. I would like to thank everyone for coming out this evening and for your questions. I would also like to thank all the opponents for stepping up and running for council and head of council. It's not an easy thing to do, and I wish you all the best of luck. And just a reminder, this election is about the future. It's not about the past 4 years. Support me with your vote on the 24th of October. Thank you.
Ron, please.
First of all, I'd like to thank my wife Lois for her support. And I'd like to thank the Lions Club for putting on our debate tonight, and Sir Hugh for your moderator. You've done a great job. And all of you that attended, without your input and your questions, we would likely be lost. Some were very important and some need to be addressed. I realize that, and all need to be considered. My feeling is to move forward with the village the way it is, with the council, support with our staff, and I would like to see more participation from the residents. All three parties working together improve this village. I think I've heard from a lot of people while visiting, they don't want to see the little village lose its luster as a little village, but a village isn't just mortar and bricks and roads and sidewalks, it's the people. So we need a community spirit working among all of us to make this work. And I ask for your support so I can guide you through that. Thank you.
So it was in October of 1996 when I stood in front of council with Reed Marion Vestido, and I hope you all remember Reed Marion when she was here, and made this crazy proposal for them to allow me the use of the municipally owned Stirling Theatre at no cost to the taxpayer. I would start a professional theater company, and they said, knock yourself out if you want to be crazy. That was in October. I moved to Stirling on November the 3rd, and we did our first show on December the 2nd, and we never looked back. My master plan at the time was to stay in Stirling about 3 to 5 years, build the company up as large as I could make it, as successful as I could make it, and then use that as a springboard to move to a bigger company, because that's the way it works in my industry. And I had my eye on some big theaters that I wanted to start working my way up to. And then I met this guy called Frank Stately, and I met a whole bunch of people in Stirling that I literally fell in love with. And I realized if I wanted to move anywhere else, I would be crazy because I would lose my life here in Stirling. So I have tried for the last 26 years to give back as much as I've received, which is why I got involved with the Horticultural Society, why pickleball, the best sport in the world, is happening 2 nights a week at the Stirling School. I get involved, I make things happen. I know council doesn't work the same way as the business world does. Things are slower. I'm going to learn lots of patience. But I'm willing to do that. I feel like I'm at the right time in my life to do that. I'm good at communication. I'm good at getting people involved in things. So hopefully, if I get your vote, I'll continue to do that on another level. And I hope Marion Vestido is looking down with a thumbs up and approving. Thank you.
Well, I just had to leave John Rock till last.
It's okay, I'm used to it. I'm gonna say it right now, and I'll start, first of all, of course, I want to thank everybody for showing up in the Lions Club. However, I am very proud of what this past 4 years has accomplished within the confines of Stirling-Rawdon. This council's gone through some difficult times, but I'm very proud of what we've done. We have the new ambulance station going in. We have continued growth. We have looked after our water situation. Our sewer situation is fine. We've done some serious work as a council, in spite of some obstacles, shall we say. We have moved forward, and some of the things that I ran on last time actually have been accomplished, much to my surprise. I was looking at my what I ran on last time. Our council meetings are broadcast. One of the things I ran on, that's a good thing. Was I the only one to do that? No, it was part of a team effort, like most things. Our committee meetings are also audio broadcasts. And looking forward to those changing maybe to be live broadcast as well. That's a matter for internal discussion with regards to the procedural bylaw. But those are the rules we follow as a council. One of the things I really would like to do, and I'm going to push forward when I forget the new election or new council goes on, is the Lions Club has a lovely sign downtown on the creamery. Why don't Stirling as a village purchase 2 of those and have one on the inside, one in front of the council buildings, and one coming into town, and maybe a 3rd one someplace else, to let people know what's going on. As I mentioned earlier, there is no newspaper. People need to be involved in what's going on. That's the thing I hear a little bit. I don't hear as much about that as I do about the roads not being looked after, but that's come up this meeting. There are reasons for that. So that's one of the things I'm going to push for, is having more communication via electronic signs, just like the Lions Club. And hopefully the Lions Club won't take that as a front, but I think we can have the information that people need to know. A lot of things happened. I don't have time to tell you all the stuff that I have personally done. I'm not going to take credit for anything. I'm just going to say this council has done a good job in spite of some issues, and we have moved forward in how we've all worked together. Thank you.
Thank I want to thank everybody for your attention and respect. This is a very interesting meeting. The only way to really finish it off would be for me to take the bar keys and have a beer with you, but I can't do that. Anyway, thank you very much for coming, and I'll be shutting the lights off with somebody else, so if you want to stick around and talk to a candidate or talk to anybody, feel free to as long as you want. Have a safe night.